like you look at their apple cider and it's like this is clearly targeted to young hip 20-year-olds, I guess. I suppose this isn't for us, like especially like their cans that they get. Like there's no way. So I got like a backup. I got like a ginger beer that I was going to
Okay.
talk about instead, but I found it and I'm like, oh no, it's so bad.
I'll still be on the hunt. It's still a hunt. I will try it, but
Yeah,
I
it's
failed. It was, I don't
no,
know, popular.
it's impossible. Like it's unbelievable. Like I can't believe how popular this is. It's
And
just
there's a few
it's
of them, right? Like it just, I guess it was big in the States for a while and it came, I read up on it. I read the history of it. I'm like, what's in it?
you
What
don't
makes
want to
it
know.
so good? How did I
Oh,
miss this? But
oh, just
one day.
you're not. Like the thing to say is like you're not making it better. You're just making root beer worse. Yeah. The adult beverages are unfortunately poured. More on that later. The kids are asleep. It is time for New Dad Gaming, a show about gaming, fatherhood, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 1 year old.
My name's Gavin. No, Gavin's not here, but I'm Jeff. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
It's pretty kind of you, actually, to introduce them that way as well. Hi, I'm Gavin.
Hi, I'm Gavin. I have glasses.
I have glasses. I'm a four eyes. Oh my god, nuts.
You said it.
Yeah, yeah.
Glasses.
Welcome to another week. Jeff, how was your week in fatherhood and gaming?
Fatherhood was pretty good. It was hot this weekend. Like, if anyone was outside, it was probably 40 with humidity, 40 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what the Fahrenheit would convert to, but we decided,
300.
yeah, we decided, instead of staying in an air-conditioned room, we would go to Centerville,
Of course.
which is an amusement park on an island where you have to take a ferry, which coincidentally is the same weekend as a national dragon boat race competition.
God.
So you're wedged in between dragon boaters, people that want to go jump off the boat into the water, and other people that go to the island for the beach. Uh, so we spent the day doing that. The kids had a blast, but it was hot, man. Like,
I'm glad to hear they had a blast because, yeah, with the heat and like
though
the amusement
they,
park is always like a 50-50 because if it's too many rides or they're feeling kind of sick.
yeah. And my youngest was feeling kind of like he woke up with a runny nose and stuff. So it was kind of, all right, we're going to attempt this. But that being said, it was like our first major event without a stroller, which was so like the light at the end of the tunnel,
Wow.
another milestone. It's like you didn't have to lug it around. You didn't have to, even on the ferry, getting on the ferry, you didn't have to limit yourself to the bottom rung and people bumping into you trying to get around the stroller.
Oh, it's the
Um,
worst. Like just trying to public transit with strollers is just
oh, it's
you
brutal.
feel terrible. It is awful, and then you feel awful because
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
sorry,
You're just
sorry.
impeding traffic and hitting people's legs, like their shins. Like, sorry, my kid's
Watching their
kicking.
eye, everybody's eyes like, oh god, here we go.
Here's another one.
Man, so no, geez, you are
No
just
stroller.
launching ahead. So no diapers,
Rolling along.
no stroller. It's like they're gonna have jobs at this rate. Like this is gonna be
Yeah.
great.
So yeah, no third kid. So I'm done. I'm breaking free. That's it.
Yeah. Oh man, there's no way you're gonna possibly. I would love to see someone try to convince you to have a third. Now that
No, no.
like you're living the dream.
Yeah, that
You get
would
all
be a
the
full restart. Not gonna happen.
man and the well. How was your man? Father's Day was right on Sunday. How was that for you?
It was good. So the kids, they make stuff
Well,
that
actually, hold on. Let me ask you first. Are you the world's greatest dad?
obviously hands down.
Oh, you beat me. Shoot. Okay. Darn. There's always next year.
Yeah, you always have to like Google, okay, Father's Day creative. And that's what you get for Father's Day because it seems like his daycare and school do that exact same thing. They take their game plan from the first result in Google and just run with it. So
That's amazing. I can't
it
wait to
was
try that
cute.
next year.
Yeah. It was they made their own stuff. I got another mug to add to the collection that was hand painted. And the notes they do up where, my
You tell me
dad
you didn't
is.
bring your mug onto the show?
I didn't. It's at work. I
Oh,
keep it
okay.
there.
That's decent.
I always think of The Simpsons, like do it for her.
Yeah,
This is I need to make it my happy place. Put some things up at work. But no, it was good. It was cute. So after that little, I guess, 15-minute showing in the morning, we ate some breakfast and then went to Centerville and sweat my butt off.
I was gonna say that's hardly an event for you. Like that's Happy Father's Day. Lug your kids around for the day.
Now here's a job to do.
Yeah, it's that Louis C.K. skit where he's on a show and he's having an interview and it's like, how was your Father's Day? He's like, well, it's fine except I had to spend it with my kids. I mean, it's like great. Like that's what I do every day. Like what's the it's responsibility. Thanks.
On Father's Day, take away the kids, please. Remind me why I became a father or didn't want to. No, that was good though. How about you?
Yeah, so it was great. We were up at my folks' place, so I got to spend that with my dad, and happy Father's Day to him, and a bunch of other siblings came up, so it was a family event. It was great. I got to sleep in that day because my mom, like his grandma, took him for the morning.
Wow, lucky you.
Oh
That's
man, and I felt bad because like I blew, like I slept right to like 11. Like I gunned it. I went nuts, and I just like woke up feeling super rested, slightly guilty, but mostly super rested.
Did you wake up and be like, where did the day go? Because 11 o'clock is like, all right, time for lunch.
Yeah, like that. Usually by then, like I've been up for like 6 or 7 hours.
Right.
So like, there's so few hours left in the day.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty well. So we ended up, but we came back pretty early. There was a festival here in town, Italian festival, just on the street north of us.
Yep.
That was like a blast. So we're just walking with kids, met up with another family of ours. So it was a pretty social weekend, all things considered. And little man was a champ. For mine, we got a ribbon with his picture printed terribly. It's like squashed and like a little bit too wide, and just like awfully plastered onto this thing with like two streamers coming down. But like you said, it still is very cute. Like it's actually really nice. You're like, that's sweet. Like what's he gonna get me? Like a PS4 and like,
hint hint.
Yeah, wink wink. Next year. Terribly disappointed. No, that was darling. That was cool to see. And no, it was a great weekend.
Good.
Now so as I alluded to in the break, the dad challenge for this week was to try like alcoholic root beer, which is being advertised all over the place as this huge thing. So this is a curiosity, and like I know Jeff, you're having the same issue I have, where you can't find it. It is so popular,
which is amazing. I was totally blown away that you couldn't find any sort of root beer in either the beer store or any other LCBO or other liquor stores.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah, I went to the one LCBO twice, 2 different occasions, sold out. And it's not just a matter that like, they're not carrying it. Like
no, sold out. Yeah. Flies off the shelves was the exact quote. Flies off the shelves. So I don't know what we're missing. Tell me.
Like was it on a blog and like all the kids saw it and thought this is a thing? Like
all those young whippersnappers.
Yeah, like 22-year-olds first drink. But anyway, so I finally found it. It's so bad. They've just ruined root beer. And the best part about it, it literally, this is the new generation's Mike's Hard Lemonade. Right. And when I remember when I was too young and I was trying to drink for the first time, Mike's Hard Lemonade was perfect because it's something I could actually stand to drink. I didn't like it, but I could drink it.
Yeah.
And this would have been perfect. I would have loved this as a teenager experimenting for the first time. But it's just like so. The one I was able to find was Mad Jack. What do they actually call this thing? Premium hard root beer.
Yeah.
Premium hard
Premium,
root beer.
You get the top shelf stuff.
It's like this is like this is a roller coaster of disappointment because you take the first sip and you're like, that's just very serviceable root beer. Okay. And it takes such a nosedive at the end. Like it tastes so bad at the end of like the tasting. It's just like, okay, root beer. Oh god.
Oh,
it just
no.
it just drops. And then now like the rest of the time that you're going into it, like that's going to be your experience.
You know,
So
you're really selling it to me. I don't know.
the
I
problem
think
is too like I'm trying not to come at it from a snobbish perspective. If you love it and you want to get, I would implore everybody to try it because it might be your thing. I don't know. Maybe those Mike's Hard Lemonades and those alcoholic, fruity style stuff. That's your bag. Awesome. Give it a shot. I would tell everybody to try it because, especially since it's new and you can't get it in the city. You got to try it. You got to give it a shot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just and I love like root beer was my jam. Like that was my go-to pop when I was a kid.
Right.
Like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, root beer. So,
So is this ruining childhood memories? Like you're just drinking it?
regressing.
Yeah.
Let's go for this here.
That healthy sip.
That was a little better. That wasn't such a drop off.
Oh, okay. It's growing on you.
Yeah, it's
Maybe it
growing on
takes
me.
two.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like it's in some ways those first couple sips maybe like it was just me acclimatizing to it. That one tasted a lot like root beer. So yeah, it's root beer. It's alcoholic root beer. I'll ease off a little bit my first sayings. I'll tell you, I'm gonna keep drinking it through the show. My intention is to have this finished. I will review this one after and see what we think. But
After it gets a little warm too.
a
A little lukewarm.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's multiple varieties, right? Like there's different companies that make it all different ways, I'm sure. or use
No,
different
see there it is. Just like
It didn't last. That didn't last.
it's the promise of root beer, and then it just turns at the end sour. It's just weird. I don't know. Everybody, like I'm telling you, try it. Get out there, give it a shot, because it's, and maybe a couple of varieties. Like I'd be kind of curious, like how Mill Street did it, because I usually like their stuff so much. But flying off the shelves, that's the part that it's interesting enough that it exists, but like the fact that it's that popular.
Yeah, I know. And they look at you weird, like you want that. But I guess they've been answering that question all week, all summer.
Oh man, so did you get a chance to play any games this week?
I actually went a little bit retro. Well, retro
Go
being
on.
like 5-7 years ago. I found my old version of Company of Heroes for PC. And it's kind of like a real-time strategy. I was always into it when I had a PC, and then I switched to Mac for work, so I couldn't run it until I got a new Mac and could like emulate it like through Wine wrapper. So I was playing that. That was pretty cool. It's kind of like you have to capture zones, and those zones give you the resources you need to build supplies. So you need like gas, munitions, and then there's like capture points that expands your territory. So it's kind of a neat way of not resource collecting, but kind of holding different areas. And everything's destructible, right? So you get a tank, you can just ram through a house that's loaded with snipers, and it's just a neat it's a neat throwback. I always loved that game. I got detached from it with the computer issue. But it was good to jump back in. And then another one that just went on sale on PS4 was Battlefield 4 for $5.
Oh man.
So I jumped in that.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my butt kicked, right? Because I used to play Battlefield back in the day, but I haven't touched it in a while. They have newbie servers, which is great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm not that bad against other people that are not that bad. So it's good. It was fun. And then I stopped.
That's important too. I mean, especially with that capturing fun, especially in that type of team environment on a game that people can be amazing at and hate, quote unquote, noobs.
Oh yeah.
That's great to hear that they have something set up so you can enjoy it, like have fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I didn't know any of the buttons, and I'm trying to like scope through the one gun, and it's not working, and I'm pressing the wrong button like entirely. But then I realized that the guy beside me that's trying to fire at me is doing the same thing. So we're both like running around, not knowing what to do. So it was good.
Just imagine it's like, all right, so you grab the helicopter. Oh, goodbye.
Oh, helicopters don't even go there. They just crash and burn immediately. So,
Oh,
but yeah, that was my gaming week.
Nice. So so I picked up there was a humble bundle that came around, and it had one game that I've been very interested in, Absolute Drift.
No, I haven't heard that one.
But it is cool. It's an isometric, super like a bit of a polygon, like very pared down style.
Okay.
So you'd think it's not necessarily about. They call it. You'd almost want to call it like a Zen driving experience. So you're in this isometric view, so top down. It's a static camera, and you're just zipping this little car around.
Yep.
And it's on this super white plane with like nothing in the background. You just seem to be on this platform. These little red dots.
Okay.
And you're just taking this little car and producing these like beautiful, almost calligraphy-like skid lines as you're doing your drifts. And the whole point is to kind of go around these tracks, around these circles, and get as close as you can to pins and hit these boxes.
Okay.
So it ends up being it's literally like paint strokes, but with a vehicle that you're driving in this super minimal, beautiful design landscape. Like it's incredibly chill. It's very like beautifully done. Just a cute little, like great little concept and a lot of fun. Feels great to play with. So yeah, great. Just great little win. That's a cool little game, and I'm glad it like came on for sale. I'd had my eye on it for a while.
Is it like a never-ending one, or does it have levels? Like, does it?
So I think it has like an infinite mode if you want to just like hop on and just zip around and have a great time. But then there's also levels. So like it's a race. You're racing through this particular track, and then can you basically drift the entire time and hit all these blocks and do other stunts and such. But no, it's all. As you say drift and racing, you're thinking it's just like high intensity adrenaline pumping.
I'm thinking like Need for Speed, so it's like a less aggressive Need for Speed.
Well, it's complete non. It could not be more zen and calm, whilst having a car and drifting. So, yeah. And then again, like I said, it's like a paintbrush. It's a beautiful like calligraphy on blank white surfaces. It's so cool.
Absolute Drift. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, and if you check on the Humble Bundle, I think they got it going for another week. You might be able to snag it.
Nice.
So otherwise, got into Overwatch and still been playing that, having a lot of fun. I seem to be able to. It's perfect because it's like I finish up like work for the night or whatever I'm doing. I'm like, I'll grab a couple matches, and that's literally it. Like 2 matches, out, have a lot of fun and get out. Funny thing was like decided to play around with some new heroes and like learn their abilities, and they have this mode called like versus AI. So I'm like, okay, I could just like go putz around. It's just me. It's not just me. It turns out it's you and other humans against AI. So
okay, yeah.
I had all these teammates, and I did clue in for like 5 games, but I had all these teammates with like, like West Coast Sniper 75 and like Johnny like what would sound like actual gamer names. I'm like, wow, these guys really wanted to make this feel real. And then at the end of the game, they're like, man, they should really nerf this guy. Like, good game. I'm like, did they write chatbots into this too? I'm like, wait a minute.
Hold on, there's live video.
You're real? Like, I'm doing this with real people? Shit, because the best part too is like I'm running around like an idiot because I'm just trying to like learn the abilities.
Right.
So I'm hardly focused. I'm just zipping about, having the time of my life. I'm like, oh no.
I would love to be on the other end. What is that guy doing? He's spinning around in a corner trying to fire off the special weapon or whatever.
Yeah, just like, why does he keep wasting? What is he shooting at? Like, what's this guy doing? He's not even trying. So like, oh, that was a stark realization. Like, oh no.
It'd be better if it was like mic enabled, so you're just talking to yourself and everyone's just rolling their eyes like, I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah. Going for the good thing. They're like, man, why is this guy talking so much? I'm singing into the microphone, having a great time. You can have this whole game. You can have mic chat if you want.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna have mic chat.
No. Why would you?
It's more just it's for them. Like if anybody's getting super serious and they want to yell at me for not doing something, like I just don't want to. I prefer to be ignorant and having a wonderful time like I am.
You need like piano music as you play, just you're in your own little world.
Gotta stay calm. It's a first-person shooter. It's a multiplayer one. I'm scared.
Yeah, I don't want to endure all the hate.
Okay. So, Dad's watching E3. It has been a couple days since the whole thing wrapped up. It's been a generally well-received conference. Like people seem pretty stoked about the entire thing, which is great. Like it's wrapped up, and I think we still just have the list to try to go through. Um, Before we do, like, is there any big takeaway for you from the event? Like something that got you particularly excited?
I actually really liked Sony's conference in general, just with the live orchestra. Like if you watched it, um, they didn't come out and have, the director or the producer of the game talk about it, say why it's the best thing that you'll ever play in your life, and then show the video. It was just game, 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 and gameplay, right? It wasn't even like all trailers. They had people playing the games. They had the live orchestra going to the games. I think God of War was the one that stood out for me because it was the most drastic change. Like if you've played the God of Wars, it was all like oorah, just split people's faces open and violence, violence. How brutal can we get? And all of a sudden, this new one is like he's got a kid. You have to take care of the kid. Very like he's talking to the kid and
not companion quest, like
I don't
companion
know,
quests.
but it was a total like emotional Kratos versus like it still had violence in it, but and he has a beard, like it's all Norse mythology now. He looks more badass than ever. It's just like, wow, they actually like talked about this and made sense of it all instead of just doing another like remaster or rehash of everything again. So that was probably the one that stood out to me.
Yeah, they really grizzled him up for that.
Yeah,
that video.
the drinking beard.
Yeah, I know. Like I say, is I think I like the Microsoft stuff, and especially like with the hardware. I don't particularly know that I'm going to get any of that hardware. I'll say I'm certainly intrigued by it, and especially the prices have come down. The devices look gorgeous, like the white Xbox Slim.
Oh yeah,
Xbox One S. That's beautiful on the white.
yeah, and so much smaller. Like the
Yeah,
first one was like huge.
And loud too. Like it had a separate fan outside for the power brick. Like that thing was a beast. So this new one is like streamlined and beautiful, and the excitement about Scorpio, is it?
Scorpio,
Yeah, Scorpio that they announced. Like that's it. Just in that entirety, it sounded kind of exciting. That was interesting, and like it certainly makes me almost want to get an Xbox. So I'm still holding out for the PSVR.
yeah.
And No Man's Sky, which is again that's that shining light for me is that I slowly go towards. But that has a date now, so that's October, let's call it mid-October for the PSVR.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to take on faith. Like that, I have a hard time believing that'll actually launch. But
Right, because it was June. Like it should have been now. They pushed it back.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be now, and then they pushed it back. I think even to August. And then I'm not sure. So it'll come out eventually.
It'll happen.
It'll happen. You'll get your No Man's Sky and be lost.
That's it. You just don't. I'm not on the podcast anymore. I'm just out in space.
Play it during the podcast. Just have your goggles on and just. Sorry, guys.
Guys, you got to see this. You won't believe it. But if we run down overall, I think it's cool. It's cool that they had a big fun event. Like I've generally heard great reviews on it, and I think we came away with it kind of excited and good on the industry. That was a good conference. That was
I
great.
was not expecting anything, right? Like I was expecting kind of a same old kind of thing, but they one upped it.
Okay, so we just covered the MS stuff as far as their, there's 4K gaming, which both like the PlayStation is going to be getting into. Xbox announced it with their Scorpio. I guess
I don't
we
think
need
it's
4K TVs.
I don't think it's going to happen. There's no way they can do 4K at a proper frame rate. If they can't get 1080 down, like there's too many games out there that are sub 30 frames a second.
It seems too dependent on developers that are already kind of squeezed.
Yeah, and then to make it cross-platform too, right? So I guess that's probably just different texture thing.
What's kind of interesting though, and I heard someone else talking about this, that with these different levels, like right now on PC, like you and I buy the same game.
Yeah.
I have a potato computer. You have a beast. Like mine will only output, like 720 and no shadows, nothing. And it works. It works pretty well. You have the beast, so you have it just like absolutely. You have it 4K. Like buddies of mine that I work with have 4K gaming rigs and 4K monitors.
Yeah,
and it's possible, and they do it, and they have fun, and like they have their big games. And as far as I understand, especially now that if that started to work like PCs in some ways, where it's like depending on the type of Xbox you have, it just upscales or downscales it for capability.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like those 4K machines that you're talking about are pretty expensive, like
oh yeah,
for the card in there that has to work at all, right? So they didn't announce any sort of price for Scorpio, but I can only imagine they're talking 4K. 4K
yeah.
Scorpio is going to cost them quite a bit of money unless they're selling
That's
at a loss, right? Like that's
yeah. So I think what to do is you just take your kids out of daycare because you can't
yeah.
afford it, and you
Yes.
plop them down in front of the 4K TV,
Yeah.
and they
This is your
should be
life.
they should be enamored by the picture, and they won't want to. They won't
Right.
need to go to daycare.
Then
The four
esports. Esports, get them in gaming, make
exactly,
money.
absolutely. So the TV, the Xbox becomes their daycare, their teacher, their father figure in many ways.
Who are we kidding? They play Minecraft in 4K. That's all they do.
Oh, okay. So we have Dead Rising was also announced. I guess as an Xbox exclusive.
That's okay.
Sure, I guess.
Like
Like
it's like another one. Like I used to play the other one. I don't know.
it
You know what I
might
mean?
be.
It didn't seem like evolutionary. It didn't. It's just like
Mm.
another. It's Christmas theme too, which is odd.
No.
But I guess it's coming out at Christmas probably.
Yeah. Okay, so one that got announced was we were just talking about before the show, but Steep, which on the previous episode I talked about. It'd be great to have a new Tony Hawk, and this is kind of it because there was I once got this game. It was a mum game as far as a parent trying to buy a video game because you kids like these video games, right? But this is the one they said at the store that everybody liked, and it turned out to be awesome. It was Shaun White's big snowboarding adventure or something to that regard. Yeah, kind of an open world snowboarding thing. It was amazing. It felt fantastic as far as the physics and you going down the mountain, and not a lot of pressure as far as like particular events. Like you can go into them, but otherwise you just hop to the top of the mountain, and a lot of great moments. Like it was a fun game, and I've liked snowboarding games. So this one, there's snowboarding, skiing, wingsuit. Like you can get in those wingsuits and just
Oh, neat. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's paragliding. So it's basically like it's all about going at the top of the mountain and then finding some way down to the bottom with buddies and across. I think like it might be the mountain range in Colorado.
Okay. Is it like multiple vehicles at once? I'm thinking like a MotorStorm kind of idea.
Yeah, that is absolutely perfect. That's exactly it.
Nice.
Because in it, what they have is like they have the paragliders like flying down, and then the guy on the skis like jumps over top of them, and
Okay, yeah, yeah. That
So I
could
guess
be neat. Yeah.
yeah, just it looks like they're kind of concentrating on the fun part of it, like the absurdity of throwing yourself down a mountain on pieces of wood, or like hanging by thin veils of cloth as you go down.
It's
So
those wingsuits, man. They scare the living crap out of me. I don't know how you do that, but
yeah, well now you can, and imagine
Yeah.
that in VR, no less.
VR. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure they announced it for VR, but you'd have to think.
Get my diapers back.
So we have let's see here. The PSVR announced it's available in the US. I don't know if that means in Canada at the same date. I kind of feel not.
Probably. Yeah.
I guess their current console releases have been
It's probably pretty close together. It's just a matter of pricing at that point, which is
Yeah.
crazy here.
so that's my drop off day, and I'm off into space. There's so God of War Viking reboot we just talked about. Last Guardian release date.
Finally.
Do you actually believe? Do you think it's going to happen though?
I hope so. It's been like one of those games that is in development hell forever, and you just hope it's good at the end of it because it had so much promise when it was announced, 10 years ago now? It was almost like PS2 cycle, I think.
Oh, but it's
At that
like
point.
it looks kind of fun. I don't know, like
It's not
Looks-
like groundbreaking. It was just supposed to be like Shadow of the Colossus kind of feel.
kind of, but it just like I guess for me, like it just feels a bit. That type of game is as cool and beautiful as it looks, and I always like that type of game as far as having a nice aesthetic and some interesting mechanic. The problem is it just feels a bit contrived. As far as like you come up to a challenge and like, oh, there's a big wheel for your bird animal thing, and it's a small wheel for you.
Yeah.
How perfectly convenient. Like there's not like a lot of imagination or investigation as far as like what are some ways we can use some things. It's just like set pieces where, well, the big piece goes here and the little piece goes here,
Yeah.
and then press X, and then now you move on to the next one.
I really hope they're hiding something. Like it's more like Shadow of the Colossus where it was like an open, like you found your own way.
Yeah.
But Ico wasn't like that. Ico, the kind of prequel to Shadow of the Colossus, was very like like you described, right? Set pieces in a dungeon. You're getting up to like this part of the castle. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
it's got
excited for it, but I'm not gonna be day one.
yeah, it's got a great pedigree. Obviously, I mean, with being in that world of Shadow Colossus and Ico, like
Yeah,
you'd have to think, if nothing else, even if it's a bit set piecey, it's probably going to be a great experience. We'll see.
I'm hoping.
Okay, Detroit Become Human.
That's pretty cool. I don't think I'll buy it. Pretty cool. It's a Heavy Rain, guys, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
what was the other one that with Ellen Page? What was that other one? I don't know if you ever played that one either.
Was it Beyond Two Souls or something? Or
Oh, that sounds like it.
something like that, yeah. But yes.
It's a basic movie game.
Same developer, yeah. And then this one has so many outcomes, and I don't know if it was like vignettes. Somebody said it might have been just vignettes. So again, set pieces, and you see what kind of outcome you get. But
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Resident Evil 7 in VR, no less.
That's insane.
That sounds awful.
So they have a demo for it
Awful
right
in a great
now.
way. It would just
Yeah.
the reaction videos. Here we go.
There's a demo for it right now. I haven't downloaded it yet, but it's just like a regular playthrough. And from what I saw on screen in VR, there's no way. There's no way I'm walking down a dark hallway in VR.
And they've doubled up. It's more akin, as I understand it, to what was the PT, the super scary demo?
Yes. Yeah. So I think they fed off some of that, right? Because that wasn't happening anymore. So they definitely went back to the horror, right? It used to, I think 6 was a very action-y
Yeah.
Resident Evil. So this one's definitely back to its roots a little bit.
Yeah. So
Nope.
I don't think. Yeah, not for me. God, they're just like, man, if your kid like walked in on some like any of those screens though.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
That's horrific. I would not, man. I don't want him to see any of that stuff. Like that would keep him up for weeks.
Or not, right? He's just stone cold, and then like 10 years later, he comes out.
Comes out of the.
He's traumatized.
Star Wars Battlefront in VR.
It's kind of neat. I think that's more of a concept kind of piece. It looked neat, but again, I hope it's like a $5 DLC for your VR set or something. I don't know.
It feels like it's just like a camera. Like you'd like to think they release it. It's funny because they just released a new bit of. There's an article I read. They just released new content for it, like a new sky base, I guess, where Orlando Calrissian was.
Okay.
And it's like, and you can get it for $15, and it's just like,
Oh yeah,
man.
Piston or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you with the personal awful experience I've had with it, just the thought of putting any more money. If they wanted to try to get me to play it again, which again I've not touched that in ages. If they wanted to try to get me to play it again and they said, "Hey, you got to check out these maps or these modes." Maybe, but man, like
No.
trying to ask me for more money when I regret this as much as I do. No.
So you're
thanks.
getting this one, I guess, right?
Oh
So,
man, I'm so far. I'm still figuring out some way to sell some digital code or just sell my computer to somebody with it loaded. Batman in VR. I didn't watch the demo to this one. Did you see it?
I saw it a little bit. They didn't show much, but it's just basically you put on like the cowl of Batman and go around. But I don't think there was much gameplay to it. So I'm always wary about like first-person shooters. If this is what that is, like a first-person interactive thing in VR, I think would be very difficult to. Like with the room that you're in, it's kind of odd to. I don't know.
It was just like if you have, if it's any of the gameplay from the recent games, as far as jumping up to the goblins, gargoyles, and sneaking down, like inverting, so you could like drop down and pick up people, like trying to keep up. Your
head would be messed up from that. I don't know how they're gonna pull it off, but I guess the reaction was pretty good on that one. But
could be fun. So Final Fantasy 15.
That's stupid. In VR, no less. They had a VR portion of it.
Sure.
It's not good. Like, and I'm a Final Fantasy nut. And the demo for Final Fantasy 15 was just not for me.
It was, I would say, like, I don't know if it seemed like it was an awful demo because the one that I saw, he was battling this huge rock creature who was ginormous. Like, it was unbelievable. It was so cool to see how big he was, and these guys are battling against it. but he was doing terrible. Like he was just getting like he kept doing like the sweep move where he's just sweeping them all, and he kept falling, and like he didn't get any hits in.
Yeah,
He's like, this looks miserable.
it doesn't. Yeah,
Like I don't know if you're just bad at this game or it's like insanely hard, but that doesn't seem the scale. The scale is certainly exciting. Like
that
how
is impressive, right? Like the whole open world, even like the aircraft, all the detail they've put into it. But yeah, the demo didn't sell it for me, so I'm a wait on that one.
yeah. Some of the roaming part reminds me of Final Fantasy 12.
Oh yeah, with like an
With
active battle kind of.
yeah. So and I think like if they capture that roaming element and the battle part of it, I'd be interested because 12 is another one of my favorites.
They're remastering that one too.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be a pickup. It's not on mobile though, and playing 9 on mobile's been perfect.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be mobile for a
And just like
while.
man, I don't know. There's something because it's like on planes, on slow bus rides, on
Yeah.
before going to bed, like putting in 10 minutes. But like sitting down in front of a computer for all that time is gonna be. I don't know. Like that's dedication. I have. I didn't mind Final Fantasy. Jeez, which one with lightning is that 13?
Yes.
Yep, I didn't. I liked it, but it was okay. You know, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Like, had a good time with it.
Yeah.
As part of a deal, I got X2
Right.
or like
I did too.
13-2,
I did not play that game.
and it's just like, man, I don't know if I with like dad responsibilities, I don't know I could drop the time to beat
No.
this thing. Like that's a that's
You got to put in 60 hours, right? You got to think that any Final Fantasy game is at least 60 hours, if not grinding or going to far parts of the world. It's going to be a 60-hour game.
for a minimal experience. And like what is that? Like 6 months of dad time? Like
Yeah. Your kid's like 5 years old. Dad, are you done yet?
dad, please come to one of my school plays.
I'll play another game.
Can't save your can't save Gaia at your school play, can I, boy? So anyways, 15 looks kind of cool depending how they pull it off. Is it coming to PC? Or was that a PlayStation exclusive?
I think it's PC as well.
Okay, so theoretically I
See.
could get it.
Yeah. And buy one night.
Yeah, we'll see. Just distilling the talk about how miserable I am now because that's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you have here listed. I'm reading your notes now. VR experiences, maybe proof of concept.
Yeah, so all the demos that you mentioned, like, the Resident Evil 7, the Star Wars, Batman, Final Fantasy 15, all seem like pre-existing games, right? So I think like strapping the VR on it seems to be trying to sell it as a thing rather than develop a new game for it. Like specifically for it, because you can play all those games, well, except for the Battlefront one in that experience, like you can play with a controller. So you can do the Resident Evil with a controller, be non-VR. And then they're kind of saying, okay, but now you can play the entire game with VR. Like, so it's not like they designed the game with that in mind per se. They're just kind of, hey, we can also do this. And I'm having flashbacks to like the Move controller and the PSI camera where they said, this is everything. We're gonna do this. Even Connect, like, hey, look at all this cool stuff you can do, and then nobody uses it. Like, because that's a lot of money to drop on a VR system to adopt it, and you got to think that they do have to get the ball rolling to get the games going. But
Yeah,
$500.
and unfortunately, we don't have the benefit of playing it, but I'm a little bit hopeful for it. So there's the instance, like I said, like Super Hypercube, where it's not just trying to throw you onto a battlefield. It's actually like an entire space created with that type of aesthetic and that type of control scheme in mind.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. There's like, and then for instance, like one of the launch titles on the PlayStation side with the mech warriors. It's like arena mech combat.
Oh,
I'm
from the
hearing
Killzone people.
What's it? Was that? Oh, they who did it? Okay,
I think they're the ones that did it. Yeah.
so that's a good pedigree. But beyond that, like I read a review of it, and what they found interesting is there was a normal control scheme. You're just looking at the screen. You have a controller, great. But when you put on the helmet, part of the looking or like the head tilt, I guess, where like you could control the vehicle that way.
Okay.
So they had built it with that in mind, and he was surprised at how intuitive it was. Because you say that, you're like, oh, you got to learn this whole like
Yeah.
flimsy way of doing it. He's like, it was incredible because I got in and I just moved my head very naturally, and that's the way the machine went. So it became part of that experience. Although
Right.
there's part of me that worry about that too. Like you're gonna do it like an hour match, and you're just like,
Oh god.
you're just flopping your head about to move around.
You got all these insurance claims here. Like, I got whiplash again. And
It'll be a whole different strap just to keep your head within a certain radius, so you're
Yeah.
not like it's gonna be the Wii, the Wiimote disaster all over again, except with people's necks.
No, but those experiences are cool when they have that in mind and they can design for it. I'm just worried that, you're going to get all like the Wii type mini games that come out and they're not exactly thinking about it. They're just kind of doing it as a concept. Like, hey, you can do all this cool stuff. It's neat. And then it's lost forever.
Yeah, I'll be curious because ultimately, like No Man's Sky, it's the scale and the scope and the capability stuff you can do. Like that's super interesting. VR seems like such an amazing part of it because you get to be in it and like look around and like that's your But is it so core to that game in particular? Like I'm pretty sure I'd enjoy it if it was flat as well. But yeah, it is gonna be curious how it knocks out. It feels like it's got a lot more steam than Connect and Move. Like those truly felt gimmicky. Those felt like a complete reaction to the Wii's success.
Yeah.
Right at the time, like the Wii came out, families, kids loved it. I mean, what an amazing family device that thing was. I don't know if your kids ever got into the Wii, like any of the shake games or dance games or things.
Yeah, my oldest did, and he can do all the little Wii mini games himself, and then Mario Kart. He has. It's funny watching him going from controller to the Wii Mario Kart because you're tilting it, right? Yeah. He's like, I don't want to do this. And I remember back in the day when I was first learning video games, and my cousin would do the same thing. Like she would rotate but it wouldn't work.
Oh, just like you shake it to the side, like it's gonna make it turn more left. Oh yeah,
it's like, hey, I've seen it.
But your esport pro kid was so good, he didn't need. It's like, why is this gimmick? I don't get it.
I don't get it. I'm past this.
This is ruining my performance. Knock it off.
The lag on this. Oh,
so I guess I have hope for it, but I think we're talking about an industry that's had a terrible track record with extra peripherals, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can crash through these a couple more. So, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
I don't know. I'm done with Call of Duty, but I'm sure there's an audience out there for it.
Yeah, it's basically it's a different type of Madden. It's a different sports game. It's a different NHL or like I said, Madden. Just for every year is kind of a new installment.
In space now.
Well, it seems like they're going out. I mean, if they do some interesting things, if it's just pew pew but on the moon as opposed to pew pew on the ground, then nothing. But I mean, if they introduce some cool space mechanics along with it, like I don't know, maybe it turns out a ton of people like it if they stay true to the roots enough and give enough revigoration. Revigoration, that's not a word. If they reinvigorate,
I love your made up words. I love them.
You kind of knew what I meant when I said revigoration, though.
Yes, I did.
Well, it could be it could reinvigorate the series and be something kind of cool.
They showed some neat things, like you float through space and all of a sudden you like magnetize your boots and then you're running across the spaceship, which is kind of neat. But
yeah, so like all of a sudden it's not like just a plane with gravity. It's like you can imagine like the entire map just being a cube and you're like jumping on different sides. So Crash Bandicoot Remaster. Sure. I don't know if I'd ever want to play a Crash Bandicoot again.
As a downloadable thing, maybe, but not a full game.
Yeah, the Skylanders Imaginators.
This was pretty cool for dads.
Okay.
So what they showed was, if anybody knows Skylanders, so this stupid like amiibo type statues.
Actual toys, right? Like when I went to like $30 a shot.
They're about 15. But
that's not so much better.
It's not, because there's characters and then there's like little weapon inserts. So those weapon inserts unlock parts of the game. So you have to get certain material ones. Like the Earth one unlocks the Earth sector, so you can go in there. But if you have the wrong character, you'll die. So
it's physical DLC.
Yeah, but with this one, I'm not saying I'm getting it. It was neat for dads because they showed drawings of kids, or kids' drawings, not drawings of kids. That's weird. Drawings kids did of their own little characters that they've created, just drawing it, and then somehow it scans it in, and it's live 3D, and then you're playing with it, and you're like assigning attacks to it. So they showed like this banana man with like spaghetti arms and like googly eyes and stuff, and it was kind of neat to see like your kids like creation in life. Oh well, not in life,
That's
but in the little 3D world. So
that
that's
is
kind of
really cool, and it sounds like it harkens back to one of your great dad gaming experiences with was it Tearaway that you were drawing some
yeah,
things?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably why I was kind of like, oh, it kind of perked my ears up a little bit. I'm like that might be kind of neat if it works. Because I've seen some like face scanning technology and like, yeah, get your game in the basketball game. It's wicked. You scan your face and you email it in and you're on a character and it's horrible. Like it's just looks awful. So you know, last thing you want is your kid crying because their character doesn't look like what they envisioned.
They suck. It's like the characters of your imagination are terrible at this
Yeah,
game.
yeah. It's like I'm not dealing with a crying kid that's
Or if they die, it's just like, Dad,
or
stop, make
or
him
that
stop.
already dead.
Oh, Mr. Binky, no.
Okay, so maybe it's a bad game. Well, we'll see.
No, that is cool. That is an interesting interactive element, and it plays on something that happens so naturally with kids, anyways. As far as drawing, it
Yeah,
promotes imagination. As far as like maybe it's a pickle night, maybe it's a purple monster pogo stick man, like whatever. Like that's kind of
yeah,
cool. That's kind of neat. That's an interesting thing to see with tech. It's great to see technology support that type of imagination with games.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's see. Jeez, Lego Star Wars.
Yeah,
Sure, great kid game.
yeah.
Always
Same
a safe choice. Kojima comes out, Death Stranding. Not
Yeah,
a kid
so
game.
not a kid game.
So anti Lego.
Totally. So having like him come out because of all his troubles with Konami and Metal Gear and getting his own kind of game that's totally different. Like I mean totally different. It had the Walking Dead guy, Norman Reedus holding a fetus.
Yeah, and
Uh
dead whales, and it was just
yeah, it was weird, but it was totally Hideo Kojima. Like that's who he is. Like he's just a weird dude. He's the guy that conspired with uh Guillermo del Toro, I think, for PT. So like he can come up with some cool stuff. So it's interesting. He said it was gameplay, like it was all in game engine,
huh.
but might not be the final game. I'm interested, but it'll be like 5 years from now. So
Man, that long. Seriously, that long?
he takes forever, and I think that's what Konami didn't really like about him. They need to put his games to market, right? And he's a creative. He
True.
likes to like perfect his vision.
A true artiste.
Yes.
We'll
Money,
see.
what money?
I've
Budget.
never, besides some Metal Gear 1, I've never really played much of his stuff, so it'd be kind of a.
Oh, you should go
That'd
back
be
to that.
jumping into like pure Kojima,
Yes.
like
Oh,
0 to 100. Oh man, this
yes,
root beer
it's
is making
sweet.
me a lot of burps coming from this root beer.
I thought you were gonna say like, yeah, I need to go to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
just disappear for a moment. No, not that bad. Just
Working. That means it's working.
oh yes. Spider-Man
Yeah, new Spider-Man was pretty cool from
looks
Insomniac.
excellent. Yeah, that looks like a lot of that could be that would be a fun game to play through because I'm sure your memories as well as mine of the old Spider-Man games was
Yeah.
just those things were phenomenal.
They were so fun and like just swinging from skyscraper to skyscraper
Oh
and
yeah,
screwed it up. The old games are pretty cool.
yeah. Especially I remember the first one on PlayStation. Like it was unbelievable what they achieved.
It was mind blowing. You're like, I can't believe I'm Spider-Man in my own city. This is amazing.
Yeah, climbing on walls, like the combat, like that was a blast. That was a
Yeah.
great game.
The draw distance. You remember the draw distance? Like looking back on it now, it's all like you go to the top of the skyscraper, you couldn't see the bottom because it just fogs out. Like,
Yeah, that was
oh,
such a clever way to get around it.
back in the
Constant
day.
fog.
Yeah.
And Days Gone.
That's a neat new one. So I'm a big Last of Us fan, but this one looked like it was that Last of Us kind of vibe, like an apocalyptic wasteland with instead of like one zombie or two, which I guess they're not zombies. They clarified later that they're feral humans, so they can think and act in hordes and like a kind of like a pack of wolves, I guess.
It was just the number they were achieving. Like
The number, and they were going down and piling up, and they were climbing over the pile. So just that alone is kind of cool and freaky and navigating that world. Kind of
Yeah.
different IP on it. So
Yeah, if they take the quality that was Last of Us and they apply the latest advances in the software, because
yeah,
the one I saw, like they open up a key, like a car from a train, and just the volume, and like
yeah,
you said, like how they're like, I couldn't believe the number of free moving and fast moving things on screen, and then as they're falling, and then they're like climbing over top, and they're pretty smart about it. Because that is an element of terror, like just being completely overwhelmed. Because at the moment, like there's this limit. It's like 20 things on screen.
yeah, yeah. I'm done.
Yeah, the closest thing would probably be if you remember, like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead
Yes.
2, its
Yeah.
numbers were pretty impressive. Like, and just like the sheer volume, like how the heck there's so many? But if it's that, but like modern graphics and Last of Us storytelling,
Yeah.
maybe.
It could be kind of a one to watch, right? So
Yeah, especially if it's kind of like yeah, that might be a good a dad game to stream. If all of us can like go in and try to like survive,
oh
possibly
yeah.
survive it.
Yeah, I tried the first level. I couldn't find my way out.
Jeez. And last for us will be Nintendo and basically just Zelda.
Just Zelda.
Only Zelda.
But
It looks great.
looks amazing.
It looks like another Zelda game.
It does.
In a great way. It looks phenomenal.
It does. They captured like the old feeling of Zelda, but that was just Zelda.
It's just and much like that the game we just talked about. It's the same thing, but they've just now taken advantage of the hardware and just the size of the world, the fidelity of the action, the scale. I think the scale of more than anything is just, especially with some of the horse running thing, like that really felt like the exploration feel from Ocarina of Time.
Yes. Yeah.
Despite how limited it was, but ultimately, like that first time you got out to the field and then you got the horse,
Yeah.
like that was incredible. But the thought that you could apply that to a Skyrim amount of world, like that's cool.
It looks like they took their time on it, right? Like they're thinking about like recapturing that and then also using the latest, well, not latest tech, but enough of it, right? They didn't go all out. It's kind of a mix of like Wind Waker aesthetics with a more modern twist on it. So it's not quite so cartoony, but it's really neat. I'm not going to buy a Nintendo for it, but I would like to play it.
Is it going to be for the new console or is it going to be for Wii?
They said it was for both. So it's the Wii U and the NX, whatever that's going to be. But it will be like their NX launch. Like it will be the game to get, is what they're saying at least. So
Is NX this year? Because they haven't released anything about it.
they haven't announced anything. So I don't know. I think probably I think online it's March. I think they're thinking March, but of next year, which might be too late, right? With Scorpio coming out that fall and
Jeez, yeah, like that's
or Nintendo. My kid loves it still. My kid's trying to go through Mario Galaxy, so
Right,
hardest game ever.
I was trying to find out. Like I had a real. I mentioned previously, I was kind of looking into some DSs, and one thing I was disappointed about is one of the Zeldas that I love the aesthetic too, and never finished. Got to play a little bit of it, but not a lot. Was Wind Waker?
Yep.
The GameCube.
Yep.
Because that, like, just the exploration part of it, the style, the characters in it. That was a really cool looking game. Never really got to play it. I was really hoping it would be available for the 3DS, but that's not there. It is like Virtual Console on the Wii.
Yeah, not quite there yet.
But I'd be literally buying a Wii. I'd almost be farther ahead just to buy an old GameCube, like pick it up at a garage sale.
Can you imagine? Because they said they would go into the mobile space, right? Can you imagine if they won't release a Zelda in the mobile space, but they are planning to release.
Not currently, but man, give them 5 more years, and if the NX doesn't burn
That's
the world
red
down,
button for them. Like that's like the moneymaker button. Like release Mario and Zelda on.
yeah, because 3DS is falling off because phones are, eating them alive, and the other consoles like mopped up with the Wii U. So if the NX isn't just the next Wii as far as a phenomenon, then what else do you do besides just start doing games?
We'll see. Maybe they'll send us one to test.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, with our kids, so we can kid test them. You see, and
Right,
like
exactly. We're perfect focus group for free.
I'll say, like, man, there's some little part of that too, though, because if it's amazing and there's some really great games for us, but there is that interesting take as far like as a parent, there's going to be some great Nintendo games that
Yeah.
your kid can play for sure. Like you buy an Xbox, like what are you supposed to do with your kid? Like you can buy bad young focused games, but
Yeah.
on a Nintendo, man, you get Mario, some Metroid. Like there's so many perfectly kid focused games.
I know that's where like they kind of hold their power, right? Because even when I was getting my son a 3DS, like there's tons of games that he can get that he can learn at, video games, right? So the
Cut
Mario
his teeth.
Karts, the Super Mario's, even the Pokemons, like it's simple reading. It's enough to get you started, and then you're kind of off on your own. So he's learning on Nintendo. Maybe that's their thing. Maybe that's their target. You learn on Nintendo, then you go hardcore, air quotes, into PS4, Xbox, and then go super hardcore into PC.
Man, that has to be a really smart play because I mean, if you think about us, we're the perfect target. If they pitch it to us and we look at it, we're like, oh, there's some really cool stuff with this. And already you and I are like drooling over Zelda. Who knows what other ones they could pull out that we would like. But then they have amazing stuff, much like if they double down on stuff like that Skylander one where you can draw or
Yeah,
Tearaway,
yeah.
right? And the entirety of this system is about parents. We got you covered. You're gonna love this stuff, but you can totally play this with a kid,
Yeah.
and now it becomes this like family purchase. It's not about me.
No,
It's about quality time with a kid. You see.
they totally have to sell it though because like their releases are great. So like the Marios and Zeldas, but they are like few and far between, right? So they take their time, which is great in the end. Like Zelda was supposed to release for the Wii U like now, and it's at the end of its life. So, but if you can get that quality gaming and the third party developers on it, it's total sell for.
It'd be a real unique proposition, and one that I think you and I we're in households that can have buying decisions for this type of medium. And you look at Xbox and PlayStation, it's Infinity, and it's like Call of Duty Infinity and Kojima,
Yeah, yeah,
Kojima Nightmares, and
yeah.
you know what I mean. So, but this one of these came along, and it's fun. There's some awesome, great fun games for parents, but also like a kid focus. Like that could be. Yeah, maybe like maybe they had a bad period because we were young. We were young and foolish without babies, and then we were playing all about the Xboxes. But now we're calm,
Yeah, more
calm
centered. Have
fatherly
kids of our
figures.
own. Yeah, exactly. Kids of our own. We want to start them. Let's Nintendo's basic. They have a lot of parental filters. I can filter out. There's no Call of Duty for it yet.
Yeah, we're the ones who grew up on it, right?
Yeah.
Nintendo, like the NES was ours, so like
Yeah.
that could be something. That is
Get us a
interesting.
dev kit. I'll test it out with my son.
So the all right, Nintendo, you can reach us on our website.
Yeah.
So I have finished the root beer.
What's it like?
It is bad root beer.
Oh my god! Did you actually finish it though? That is
Yeah,
an
I finished it.
accomplishment.
Finished it through. It's like I'm telling you, folks, try it, give it a shot. I don't want to be someone might like it, and it's just like I could care less to be the one naysayer of it all. It's just again, I love root beer, Barks A&W, like any amount of it, and it starts out tasting like, yeah, that's not a bad root beer, and just falls off so badly towards the end of it. Lousy aftertaste. Like my mouth is not doing well at this point. And I think that's them trying to sneak in that alcohol.
I just like how you're waving around like it's a piece of trash. You're like, ugh, like this is it's done.
I don't care to be so.
It's over.
I would never. I'll put it this way. I'm never gonna buy that again.
Okay.
I could imagine if we're on a patio and it's a smaller brewery type situation and it's we got this root beer thing. It's like let's try this one again. A root beer, but I would certainly never buy it from a beer store or the LCBO.
I'm still on the hunt, so
Yeah,
I will
you
try
still owe me at least one root beer.
I will try it.
You have to suffer one of these episodes just like I did.
I won't get that one.
Man, I got so many burps going too. It's like, so that like it's pop, but like then alcohol too. So it's just mixing up. So do you have? Are you drinking a beer choice, or are you just drinking
Yes.
a beer?
So not root beer flavored, but
You
bone
son of
shaker.
bone shaker.
Bone shaker. So it's kind of again
So
hoppy.
hoppy. It's a
Has some
definition of
grapefruit.
hoppy.
It is. It's got some grapefruit in it, like a grapefruit taste. So it's okay. Not,
Because of the hops, or like it ends up having a fruity taste because of the hop profile, or
I think
because
it's got like grapefruit, infused grapefruit in it somewhere. Like it doesn't taste like the other hoppy beers I've had. So it's just I could see it as a like a one-off kind of thing, but it's not my fave. It was a
that's
good
fair.
try. It's not a root beer, so
Oh jeez, don't even.
that's a plus.
I would take a bone shaker over this. I just remember with that that's a type of beer where it feels like the hop is the entire story.
Yeah, and it's very strong. So it's like 7.1%.
Wow.
So it's I'll go to sleep after this. Um or have another. We'll see.
Yeah, one more than bed.
Yeah.
The yeah, see, so with me it's always a gamble because not a gamble, but I know my son works at clockwork. He's up at somewhere between 5 and 6. He's been edging a lot more towards 6, which has been amazing. But whenever I go to bed, it's like, okay, if you go to bed now, you have until
Yeah.
6.
You're
So
on the
like every
countdown.
extra hour you stay awake is just one less hour because he's not going to wake up later.
You're missing that 11 o'clock sleep in, aren't you?
Oh, that's so beautiful. Happy Father's Day to me.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. So, everybody, that will wrap it up for us yet again. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get a hold of us with dad questions or a show idea, you can reach us at our website at newdadgaming.com. We would love you to subscribe to the podcast and rate it. You can find us on iTunes and any other fine podcasting service. We do the show weekly and can't wait to see you guys again. And until that time, I will not have a spiked root beer. Jeff will have a spiked root beer.
Oh.
And I don't know that we'll ever convince Gavin to drink it again. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Now
until
he
that,
has to.
I'd like to think so. Okay, he missed this week. Punishment
Yeah.
should be at least a match.
Exactly.
Not a Mad Jack. We need him to try a different one. We'll see if there's like a diamond in the rough. One good
No.
spiked root beer.
No.
Oh, we never know. So everybody, until that time, thanks once again. My name is Trevor, and I have a 1-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. Have yet to taste a root beer. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Great. Bye, everybody.
See you.